Hello, I'm Lara Kılıçarslan and this is Newsfeed, your dose of what people are talking about online. Chaotic scenes unfolded across Lebanon on Tuesday afternoon as thousands of pagers used by Hezbollah members exploded. The blasts have led to several deaths and approximately 3,000 injuries.
Thousands of pagers across the country of Lebanon detonated in the pockets and on the hips of people that were carrying them. It is currently being reported that it is the newest model bought by Hezbollah over the past several months and passed out to individuals in that organization. It's also being reported that several individuals heard their pager begin to beep, and it then began to emit heat and smoke, and they were able to toss it away before it exploded. It is currently being reported that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of injuries associated with these exploding pagers, and numerous videos are on social media showing the pagers exploding in various locations. Now, based on the fact that these happened almost simultaneously across the country of Lebanon and they were all going off at the time they detonated, it's unlikely that this is some kind of battery failure, lithium-ion battery, or otherwise. It appears that this is likely a targeted attack, that these pagers had some form of explosives put inside them during manufacture, and then whatever the page was that they received was the actual detonation trigger for this incident.
The attack is an extraordinary security breach for Hezbollah, and they have vowed revenge. By Wednesday, it remained unclear who was behind the sophisticated attack, though Hezbollah quickly blamed its long-standing enemy, Israel. Since the war in Gaza began in October, Hezbollah and Israel have engaged in frequent cross-border exchanges of fire. As speculation mounted about the possible sabotage of the pagers, a Taiwanese tech company, Gold Apollo, found itself caught up in the controversy. While the devices carried its name, the pagers, they say, were manufactured by a Hungarian company, BAC, under a licensing agreement.
Electronic devices such as cell phones and pagers are typically not manufactured in Lebanon or Syria or Iran. They're getting these products, Hezbollah is getting these products from overseas manufacturers. And it is likely that Western entities have the ability to influence the supply chain, to put it mildly. If this was Israel, which presumably it was, it should not be surprising that they have the capability to carry something like this out. The bigger question would be, how did they manage to booby trap all of these pagers?
The pager attack could stir up the already volatile relations in the Middle East. The US, Israel's main ally, said it was concerned about an escalation of tension in the region and advocates a diplomatic solution.
Conclusions about this incident yet or speculate about what might happen from them. I will say that, of course, since October 7th, we have seen any number of incidents that have led to the heightened risk of escalation. That has been a feature of the conflict across the blue line since October 7th. And so we are always concerned about escalation. We are always concerned about any type of event that may cause further escalation.
Good news for parents struggling to control what their kids consume on social media. Meta has introduced new teen accounts for underage users on Instagram. This feature allows parents to monitor and manage their children's pages, including the ability to block access to the app during nighttime hours. Meta says all designated Instagram accounts for teens will automatically be converted to private teen accounts by default to enhance privacy and safety for younger users. Only parents can give their children full access.
I remember begging my mom to let me have Instagram for literally ever, and she did not budge. But I have some good news for y'all, because the same Instagram that we know and love now has teen accounts for people 13 to 17. My mom's one of those moms that literally fears everything, and it took years of me begging her to have Instagram for her to finally give in. She just didn't like me having too much freedom at such a young age, and I know a lot of y'all can relate with me on this one. But with Instagram teen accounts, there's a whole new experience that protects you from unwanted contact and content you may not want to see. So that means no randos all up in your DMs, because only people that you're already connected to can message you. There's also a new way to choose which topics you want to see more of on Instagram, and it's a special feature for only teen accounts.
And just this last year, I met with my son's principal, and he let me know some things that we got to watch out for as parents. And the number one thing he said to watch out for was unprotected use of social media by our children. And with this new update, teens on Instagram will automatically be placed into teen accounts. That will do three main things for them. Number one, it'll have built-in limits on who can contact them. It'll also add limitations on the content they can see. And number three, they're gonna have more ways to connect and explore safely. One of my favorite features stops teens from receiving notifications from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.
While Insta seems to be cleaning up its house and appeasing parents, its biggest rival is fighting for sheer survival in the US. On Monday, TikTok went head-to-head with the US government in the federal court. It's a case that could lead to the app being banned in America. Attorneys for TikTok, its parent company ByteDance, and content creators spent over 2 hours presenting their arguments before a 3-judge panel in Washington. The key issue at stake is whether TikTok and ByteDance must sever ties by mid-January or lose access to one of their biggest markets. This legal battle stems from years of growing tension between TikTok and the US government, which has two main concerns. First, TikTok collects vast amounts of user data, which could potentially be handed over to the Chinese government. And second, its algorithm might be manipulated to promote pro-China content without users' knowledge. Both TikTok and ByteDance have consistently denied any links to Beijing. In April, President Joe Biden signed a law giving ByteDance 9 months to sell TikTok or face a ban. TikTok has challenged the law, arguing it violates First Amendment rights. Several TikTok creators are voicing their concerns. They argue that TikTok not only provides a platform for authentic and diverse perspectives, but it's also a crucial tool for their businesses.
I found TikTok to be the least censored and the most authentic source of information for my audience to find and hear diverse perspectives instead of carefully curated and potentially biased accounts from traditional media. If Congress truly cared about protecting Americans' data, they would have passed a law that affects all technology and social media platforms, not one that specifically is singling out TikTok.
We are a skincare brand, and that's thriving like so many other businesses on TikTok. There's thousands and thousands of us, and this ban would essentially destroy our business. We do about 90% of our business on TikTok, and hopefully, with this court hearing, we'll win, and it'll save our business, essentially.
The case could ultimately reach the Supreme Court, and TikTok's fate may depend on the outcome of the upcoming presidential election. Let's take a closer look at where the candidates stand. Kamala Harris hasn't directly addressed the current TikTok ban, though her campaign has used the platform to connect with voters. In the past, she has raised concerns over national security risks linked to the app, while also recognizing its importance for users.
Ban TikTok. That is not at all the goal or the purpose of this conversation. We need to deal with the owner, and we have national security concerns about the owner of TikTok, but we have no intention to ban TikTok. In fact, what it serves in terms of it's an income generator for many people, what it does in terms of allowing people to share information in a free way and a way that allows people to have discourse is very important. But we do have concerns about the national security implications of the owner of TikTok, and that has been our position in terms of what I think we need to do to address those concerns.
On the other hand, Donald Trump strongly supported banning the app during his presidency. More recently, however, Trump has opposed the ban and even joined TikTok in June, signaling a reversal in his position.
For all of those that want to save TikTok in America, vote for Trump. The other side's closing it up. But I'm now a big star on TikTok.
Okay, some breaking news to tell you about now. Meta has banned RT and a number of other Russian media outlets on its platforms.
Meta has imposed a global ban on Russian state media outlets such as RT and Rossiya Sigodnia from accessing platforms like Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Threads. The company claims these outlets were involved in foreign interference activity using deceptive methods to influence public opinion while evading detection on its platforms. Meta's move aligns with increased scrutiny over foreign interference in democratic processes, particularly as tensions rise around the upcoming US elections. This action follows the recent U.S. Department of Justice's money laundering charges against 2 RT employees. They were accused of using an American company to produce content aimed at swaying U.S. voters. The ban will be implemented over the coming days. Russian officials have condemned the decision, with the Kremlin criticizing Meta for allegedly engaging in biased practices and accusing the company of undermining its credibility by restricting Russian media. It's said that once something's on the internet, it's there forever. But is that really true? We can still learn how people lived 2,000 years ago from fragments of papyrus, mosaics, and wax tablets. Yet, future historians might struggle to understand life in the early 21st century. Why? Because our digital history is disappearing.
According to a Pew Research Center study, a quarter of web pages that existed between 2013 and 2023 have vanished. And the older the page, the more likely it's gone. Even more alarming, 8% of pages published in 2023 disappeared by the end of the same year. This isn't just a problem for historians. Government websites, news articles, and Wikipedia references are all filled with broken links.
Why are they disappearing? One major factor is link rot, where older web pages break or disappear as websites get updated or domains expire. Legal battles and copyright issues are also driving content removal as companies or individuals take down material to protect their intellectual property. Hosting and server shutdowns contribute to the problem as entire sites vanish when infrastructure isn't maintained. Additionally, censorship and political pressure can lead to content being intentionally wiped from the web. There are groups and volunteers who have taken on the monumental task of saving the web. The Internet Archive is one such group. So far, they have archived 866 billion web pages, 44 million books, and over 10 million films and TV shows. Other efforts are also underway, like the US Library of Congress archiving government websites or the UK Web Archive capturing UK domains. Even volunteers rush to save Ukraine's digital records during Russian cyber attacks. Despite their efforts, these projects face serious challenges like financial struggles, cyber attacks, and legal battles from businesses unhappy with their work. All of this leaves us with a fragmented, disappearing digital history. The relationship between human beings and horses is a special one. Our ancestors won wars and conquered lands with the help of horses. Evidence shows that humans rode horses as early as 3000 BC, and for many nations around the world, horses represent and reflect the national identity. But there is a unique horsey subculture that's emerged in the last 2 decades: wooden horses with no legs.
Hobbyhorsing has been all over our For You page, but what is it? It started in Finland and it's essentially equestrian but without a real horse. There's jumps and dressage routines that are done on a hobby horse, which is a toy horse. And yes, it is a real sport.
This so-called real sport began in Finland over 20 years ago. Presumably riders had got fed up of putting on boots and helmets and mucking out the stables, so they created a new craze, using a broomstick. And soon they were trotting their hobby horses through the Scandinavian forests. And they've even made a film about it. Selma Vilhunen's Hobby Horse Revolution won 2 awards at the 2017 Tampere Film Festival, spreading the craze far and wide. Hobby horsing is particularly popular with girls and young women aged between 12 and 18. Participants claim it is physically demanding. This hobby has now evolved into a competitive sport, and there are tournaments around the world, from the US to Australia and even the UK. Germany has just hosted its first hobby horsing championships in Frankfurt. Nearly 1,500 spectators attended. In fact, the Germans go so giddy up over hobby horsing, they've even around 5,000 registered hobby horse riders. And there are 230 clubs across the nation. This pastime may look benign and harmless, but it's not without its enemies. Riders have been subjected to bullying and misogyny online.
We have faced so much like bullying and judgment and everything. So I think that's the main reason that puts us together, because we have each other's backs and we know what we have been through, what everyone in the hobby horsing have been through.
That's the spirit. If you get knocked out of your saddle, just do what every good rider does. Get straight back on and ride happily into the sunset.
And that's our show. Find our latest stuff on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.